You know, there are a lot of moments in JoJo where I end up getting really engaged into the show or manga to the point of where things affect me like they do the characters. I think that's probably due to me getting into the perspective of the characters, but at the same time, it's the writing. I have a personal top 5 arcs, and I can easily tell you that the Bites the Dust arc is in that top 5. The reason why I'm able to feel this much is due to my perspective following the same view as Hayato. We obviously see how everything is beforehand, and we know that Hayato doesn't. Even then, I still like to see it in his eyes. The reason for that is that there's more mystery and suspense from his direct view. I mean, of course it should. From our perspective, we're just seeing how long Kira can hold up with his facade. In the eyes of Hayato, it's noticing that your dad isn't your dad. Imagining that in a real world perspective would be unimaginable. You can't just steal someone's face, job, family, and have it work. And no, we're not going to be referencing the movie Face Off. Now, all the suspense of the Bites the Dust arc is due to the buildup that we get from My Dad Is Not My Dad, so I'm going to be starting off with that. We start this off with Kira with a bloodlust, and he's trails slowly behind the couple that had disrespected him. What we don't focus on is Hayato is trailing Kira from the train station. Kira has been holding back his intentions for a while now, and he's been watching out on Hayato because he knows that it's all over if Hayato finds out. The thing is, Hayato had already found out back in the Cat Who Loved Kira arc, and that was one of the most terrifying moments for Hayato, where the man who he thought was his father speaks on having to kill Hayato if he's found out. And while I do love this scene, I don't understand why he would talk out loud. I know I'm not the only one confused on the logic of the serial killer who had a pretty long streak without getting caught. After that scene, we have a conflict being brought ahead of Kira versus the Morio warriors. It's now Kira versus Hayato. We get to see one of Kira's best moments here, and you know it's one of Kira's best moments when it takes up both of the pages of the manga. The one thing that Kira didn't consider with this kill was that he was being watched, since he only thought it was a couple, which it was. But Hayato was there the whole time, from the train station to the couple's home. All the events that had happened between Kira and Hayato had now built up to the final confrontation between them in the bathroom. Kira had planned to talk Hayato down and probably kill him, but Hayato was 10 steps ahead. Hayato had hid tapes all over and outside of his home, which means that if Hayato was announced to be missing, there would be news for the quiet town of Morio. Along with that, Kira examining the home for the tapes while Hayato was missing would be very suspicious. This is Kira's checkmate, a child. Again, the only sensible thing to do is leave Morio before the authorities are called. I mean, it's not like that Kira's going to kill Hayato while knowing of the outcomes that were explained to him through a little boy without clothing. Except he does, and now Kira's put himself into the one, or if not one of the most difficult situations ever. He's able to keep his composure when Shinobu confronts him because she's looking for Hayato. Shinobu doesn't really try that hard and she ends up just forgetting everything. She tries to help Kira with the fingernails he's been biting at, but then leaves to make tea. Kira is now on a timer. Sooner or later, she's going to search for Hayato in his room and around the house. If she doesn't find him, she's going to end up calling the police, and Kira's clock is up when it happens. Yoshihiro comes into the picture, and it pains him to see his son like this. He knows that Kira has made a huge mistake and now he's stressing about it, which reconnects Yoshihiro with the memories of younger Kira. Now this is where we're faced with a position we haven't seen before, but the characters have. Kira had a time like this and his father went out of his way to help him. That had led Kira into getting his stand, Killer Queen. But there isn't a way to get out of this situation. Kira would have to leave Morio, but he won't. He will never be at peace if he does, so he needs something to help him so that he does stay in Morio without pursuit. We had never seen something like this before in previous parts or in DIU, but Kira had now been pierced by the arrow a second time. The answer he's been looking for had ended up being the answer that was given before when he felt like this. But what is the answer? In the manga, we're just shown the arrow and home, so there isn't much that we can make from it. But in the anime, Kira is sucked into nothingness. So what's going on? Now we're here with this new perspective and seeing this with no history. Seeing the home and Shinobu coming into Hayato's room, I originally thought that this is where Kira's clock starts, but Hayato is there. I see Hayato thinking about what had happened, but then I see Kira. This new form of Kira, which I saw him as trying to be himself and not Kosaku. But all my attention was on the text. Killer Queen's new ability. Even if you were watching the anime, You had to have at least been on the same level of confusion as Yoshihira if you weren't spoiled. What could make this guy so confident that he could revert into himself? Along with that, Hayato knows that Kira isn't his dad and that he's a murderer. Kira and Hayato have a chilling exchange, and Kira reveals that he's not only not afraid, but he's also able to freely tell Hayato his name without worry. While gathering my thoughts with Hayato, a familiar face comes into the picture. Rohan Kishibe, stand user of Heaven's Door, here to confront Hayato and ask him about his dad. This was one of the moments where you know something is about to go down because everything is pointing at it, and the suspense is slowly building, especially since Hayato now knows Kira's name and Heaven's Door can easily find that. So Hayato is asked about his father, but tries to get away. That's where Rohan must use Heaven's Door to get the information that he had came for. But there's a warning. Rohan has never seen something like that, since Heaven's Door is only meant to turn the being that he's using it on into a record of their life events. He's genuinely puzzled because he's never seen something like this, but he's interested, so he continues. As he continues, all the events that are written down are happening in real time. This is one of the oddest things to happen, and we're just with Rohan as it goes. Hayato is holding experiences of the future, but what could cause this? Even with these odd events happening, Rohan continues to read on, and then it happens. The information about Kira that Rohan had been searching for is all there. Rohan has finally figured it out. He's got what he needed, and now all he needs to do is tell the others about it. But he reads on for any extra information, and that's where it ends. Rohan Kishibe is killed. We had established that the events on Hayato had so far been future experiences, and Rohan's death is written right there. I was thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? And the writing furthered on, he was killed by the matured Kira, but there's something under the paper.
Killer Queen 第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト What?
My heart almost stopped at this moment, but this is where I also had triggered memories of Dio versus Jotaro. Jotaro had invaded Dio's world by also being able to stop time. Killer Queen had done it, just invaded Rohan's world, but to the extent of being in Heaven's Door. You don't see something like this before, and at this point I was speechless when seeing it. How did he get into Heaven's Door? Why is Killer Queen on Hayato? And what the hell is Bites the Dust? Rohan combats Killer Queen. He can open any stand and turn it into a book easily, but no, that's not happening. Killer Queen was basically intangible when this happened. And it's not that Rohan even couldn't combat him. He had already had Killer Queen in his eye. He's not looking at Killer Queen from a perspective. He's inside of Rohan. The third bomb has been activated, so we get the information from Killer Queen itself. This is a bomb planted on Hayato, and it activates when anyone is looking for information on Kira. And what I like here is that we get Killer Queen's voice in the anime, which is the same as Kira, but majority of stands are voiced by the same people that voice the user. That's why Jotaro's aura and Star Platinum's aura is really the same thing. How Bites the Dust was explained to work, I was so puzzled on how we had got here up until this moment. It looked like a bomb that just blows up people that look for Kira, so I had thought that this is what we're gonna just end off with, people that look for Kira and they're gonna just die one by one. But Rohan had already planned to meet Jotaro and Koichi, and he can see them across the road. He had finally found Kira. Rohan may die now, but he's going to be able to pass on the information just before he dies. Just like how Kakyoin had been able to pass the information about Dio Stam the world onto Joseph. So in my mind, I'm thinking this is about to be Stardust Crusaders Part 2 just because of the ending arc. But there was one last detail before coming to a conclusion. This is where Killer Queen's third ability truly begins, with a final yell screaming for a friend's name. Rohan bites the dust, with Hayato waking up to see it all happen. Oh no! Oh god, the humanity! And hey, how did Hayato get back home? The way that Shinobu comes in, the China, the morning program, everything is the same. It's not just Hayato in a dream or something. It's the same morning. He's experiencing the same morning. Kira shrouds Hayato in the darkness and explains what had happened to him. Bites the dust, the invincible ability that protects his identity. This is where we're introduced to the true ability. Killer Queen blows up those that search for Kira, but time is rewound back to an hour prior. Everyone that investigates Kira using Hayato is blown up. If Hayato wants to tell someone about Kira, it never happened. And the gripping part about this is that the events that happen in Bites the Dust become fate. If Hayato was to turn into a book, then he will turn into a book. Which means if someone dies, then they will die again. Fate is now under Kira's control. The fate in JoJo was always a factor outside of a person's control, but now it's happening. Now, obviously, more events happen after this, but I want to focus on how we got here and what it meant. Kira had always found himself in situations that he shouldn't be able to get out of, but he always found a way. Fate had brought the stand users together and had been the reason of Kira getting into those troubling situations, but now Kira has control of that. Now, if people want to pursue the bad guy, they will die forever. It got to a point of where Hayato was willing to sacrifice himself to change fate, but even then, he couldn't do that. Him trying to sacrifice himself ended up being the perfect moment to blow up everyone that was looking for Kira. Hayato was stuck in a difficult situation, and it pained him deeply. He couldn't stop it, and everyone that had came to help him and save him had perished because they had got in contact with him. Fate will continue to kill everyone that plans to help Hayato, and there isn't anything that they can do for him. Fate is going against Hayato, and he needs to do something to fix this, which he does. We know about stands and we know how this is just an ability, but to Hayato, it's fate itself. This is where the art lays. Everything that is trying to help Hayato ends up getting destroyed. That's why he must do this himself, and that's the art of Bites the Dust. See, you don't need anything besides yourself to change fate. You have control of what you can do. Even if you don't think you have control of your life or fate, you do, and you can do it. Because if life feels like a loop, a constant loop that you just can't get out of, you have to change it. But if you can't change it, then you're just gonna end up biting the dust over and over and over again. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was a corny ending. I hate myself. If you guys like the video and you're looking for other videos of mine like this, I recommend my character analysis playlist. They have pretty good videos there. If you want a specific video, I suggest the Kakyoin or Polnareff character analysis. I like those. And as a side note, I plan to talk about My Hero and Hunter more, but I'm also open to recommendations. I recently finished Mob Psycho. I understand I'm pretty late, I get it. But I plan to make a video about that soon. Not a review, but probably just how strong is Mob. That'd be really cool. I actually want to go over it. So if you liked it, you just press the like button, subscribe to be updated. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot. You guys could be literally everywhere else in the world, but you're here. So it means a lot to me. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.